coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. The winds of change are blowing for the Chinook School Division, as Director of Education Liam Choo is moving on to a provincial role with the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education. The province has allotted more funding for Sarcan to continue with its recycling program across Saskatchewan for the coming year. As another camping season approaches, Saskatchewan parks are working behind the scenes to prepare for your visit this summer. Thanks for joining us here today. Liam Choo is leaving the Chinook School Division. We find out why in today's top story. The winds of change are blowing for the Chinook School Division, as Director of Education Liam Choo is moving on to a provincial role with the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education. Starting April 1st, Choo will take on the duties of Chief Project Officer for Provincial Initiatives. According to details released at a press conference in Swift Current, Choo will assume the duties with the province for a one-year term, with plans to return to Chinook in April of 2018. And as far as what his new role with the ministry will entail, Choo says it all stems from work he started within Chinook.
There's been a lot of success on a provincial basis on the educational sector strategic plan. It's the ESSP as it's being called. I was the leader of one of the projects in that plan, Saskatchewan Reads. And in the 3 years that I was the leader of that plan, the number of kids reading at grade level in grade 3 has increased by 9%. And so there are a few other projects that the ministry is looking at doing, and so they're asking me to sort of be the lead on all of those projects rather than just one.
Choo adds that as exciting as the new provincial opportunity will be, he's enjoyed his 10 years with the Chinook School Division, with many highlights, including seeing success for students in the classroom to the opening of new schools across the division. And he'll treasure the friendships he's made along the way.
It's really hard. Professionally, it's probably the toughest thing that I'll have to do. But the reality is, I believe that one of the characteristics of good leadership is to ensure that if one individual is not around, the system can continue to function and operate possibly at a higher level. And I believe we've done that here. It's only because I have that belief that I can consider doing this.
And as Liam Choo and his family plan to reside in Swift Current during his tenure with the province for the next year, it'll be business as usual for the Chinook School Division going forward. An announcement on a succession plan for an interim director of education is expected to be announced by the Chinook board in the coming week. Market Square is a summer tradition in downtown Swift Current, and organizers are now searching for entertainers, food vendors, and artisans to be part of the excitement for the upcoming season. Contact Marlene today at 750-7888 and spend your Saturdays in downtown Swift Current this summer. Market Square, proudly presented by the City of Swift Current, Standard Motors, Innovation Credit Union, and Southwest TV News. Sarcan will once again be accepting milk containers across the province, which is good news for local landfills. Recycling continues to be at the forefront for a greener environment, now and into the future. And the province has allotted more funding for Sarcan to continue with its recycling program across Saskatchewan for the coming year, while increasing the deposits returned for certain beverage containers. Plastic milk jugs and other containers will also be accepted for recycling, which is welcome news for municipalities like the City of Swift Current.
Absolutely. Anything that we can get into the recycle stream versus going to the landfill saves us expensive space in the landfill. So this is a very positive thing to see milk cartons being collected again.
Minkin goes on to add that Swift Current residents have adopted the idea of recycling better than other centers, which benefits the overall aesthetics of the community and keeps certain items out of the landfill.
As our introduction into the provincial program last year, they were very, very impressed with the quantity of recycling that we're doing, particularly without a curbside pickup system. So we're actually doing quite well, both in volume and in quality. That's one piece that we're talked about as well, is that all the stuff that we are recycling is all sorted and is all contamination free. So it's all good product for recycling. So we have a high quality product as well.
And with spring cleaning on the agenda for many in the coming weeks, you're reminded to carefully sort all of your items before heading to the recycling depot. And you can drop off any hazardous chemicals, paint, and other products during the upcoming Household Hazardous Waste Day, organized by the City of Swift Current during the month of May. For over 12 years, Southwest TV News has provided the visuals for the defining moments in our community. Support your community and help us to continue our work. Support our sponsors by watching the ads on YouTube and by clicking the ads on our website. Pennies per click, which will help us continue to bring you the award-winning news coverage you've come to expect from Southwest TV News. Starting April the 4th, you can book your campsite online for Saskatchewan's provincial parks. We have more in this report. As another camping season approaches, Saskatchewan parks are working behind the scenes to prepare for your visit this summer. And it all starts with accepting your campsite reservations online as of April the 4th.
And it's a staggered launch, which means different parks will be available for reservations on different days, and this just helps us manage the volume accessing the site. So Blackstrap and Pike Lake are the first parks to take reservations this year, and all the way through to Thursday, April 13th. Different parks open up on each day. So if people have never used the system before, we recommend that they go on in advance. They log on, they create their account, and kind of have their dates and sites in mind. So when reservation happens, they can move through the process quickly. So 14 days are the maximum length nights. So there are some campsites that are that, but there are also some that are not. And as well, each person can have up to 4 bookings in their cart at a time. So in any one transaction, you can have 4 different stays in your cart.
And along with enjoying the great outdoors throughout the summer season, several of Saskatchewan's provincial parks will be open past the Labor Day long weekend.
Yeah, we're very excited to offer some fall camping this year in 6 of our parks, which are Blackstrap, Buffalo Pound, Cypress Hills, Duck Mountain, Moose Mountain, and Rowan's Ravine. So anyone who's interested in camping, a little bit longer than the regular season, we'd encourage them to look at those parks and book stays up until the end of September for some of those parks. Great weather in fall. Campgrounds are a little bit quieter, so it's a great time for anyone who has that flexibility to enjoy our parks well past, the July-August month.
You can reserve your campsite at any of the 35 provincial parks by going online or calling the toll-free number.
Henry Richard, Provo, Russo, all those guys that had played. He faced off against Rocket Richard.
Rocket Richard, he was the referee for the game.
Our line scored a goal. It was just boom. It was loud. Yeah, it was a lot of good times.
Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.